It's the final week of round robin play. Today on Tournament Talk, we recap last week's results. Adrian Pietro joins me in the locker room, and we look forward to the most anticipated matchups of Week 3. Tournament Talk starts now.
The Crown Championship Series is going to crown the best player in Clash Royale.
This is our first ever global tournament.
There are a million people
Asia, Europe, Russia,
The
Oceania.
highest level of competition.
playing this tournament for $1 million.
Rarely get to find the true champion.
These players crave respect. They want the achievement. They want the
cannot wait to
accomplishment.
see
Come November,
best
I
player.
cannot wait to see who's going to be wearing that golden crown.
Welcome back, wizards and witches. I'm the Rumham, and this is Tournament Talk. We are back, that's right, and this week is a doozy, the third and final week of round robin play. The players are at their most intense, most anticipated, because they know that this weekend will determine who is the top of the pack and who's the bottom of the barrel. The top two players in each region will get preferential seeding into the spring finals. The bottom two players, they go home, and hopefully they'll come back in the fall season. Now, every week on Tournament Talk, we have 8 stories for you, but our top story, Collision Course in North America, 10-2, 4-0, C. McHugh, 3-1, with his only loss being a no-show forfeit. These two players have yet to lose a match against any other player in North America. They have a juggernaut heavyweight matchup on the line in Week 3. Only one player can walk away with the victory and the top spot in the North American region heading into the spring finals. These two players used Week 2 as an opportunity to create separation from their North American peers. 10-2 is a siege expert from Fresno's finest. He dominated Week 1 with his Expo deck, but in Week 2, busted out a graveyard deck in every single match that brought him to a 4-0 record. C. McHugh came in with people curious what he was going to play after the balance updates. McHugh brought 2 unique decks that we have not yet seen in North America, a Princess Rocket Spellbait deck and a very fast Graveyard Cycle deck. He was casting graveyards as soon as the last one went down. 10-2 and C. McHugh dominated their North American competitors, each going 3-0 undefeated in Week 2. But those are just 2 of our 24 players and just a couple of the 27 exciting matches that happened. Let's take a quick look at the most explosive moments of Week 2.
Last weekend, the Crown Championship spring season heated up as top players in North America, Europe, and Latin America continued round-robin play.
Who is going to make it into the top 2? There's still a lot of players kind of hovering in the center there.
While some struggled to climb the standings, others solidified their place among the best.
There's nothing to take it down. Battle Ram gets the kill. Baron has done the unthinkable.
This is what we live for, right? The best of the best in the world playing against each other.
In the European region,
Surgical Goblin standing tall, looking proud.
Dutch favorite Surgical Goblet began the day undefeated.
A champion among champions, 2-0 right now in the European region.
But the Goblin's perfect run soon came to an end.
Is Baron Surgical Goblin's kryptonite?
A dark horse from Germany known as Baron perfectly predicted Goblin's moves, releasing expertly timed logs to pull off the upset.
Can Baron get that lightning cycle onto the left side to claim victory?
Yes!
There it goes! Surge gets the good game!
Are you kidding
His
me?
first loss! Baron wins! Defeats the undefeated Surgical Goblin!
I might take a loss right now, but I'm confident to take the crown.
While the German put the region on notice, French champion Donkey Kong also made a move to the top.
Nicely timed zap by Donkey Kong. He's going to get the Musketeers a little bit closer. Play on the right. There it is.
my God!
The bandit dashes in.
He made fast work of his fellow countryman Nem Sensei, 3 crowning Nem with 3 musketeers.
No, he's getting the 3 crown. He's done it.
Sensei's got no defense. What just happened?
Donkey Kong is now at the top.
I hope I will stay there forever.
And then hands up.
After 2 weeks of play in the European region, some of the game's heaviest hitters are all within striking distance of the top spot. Over in the Latin American region, the best of the best distinguished themselves from the pack.
Y además está el lightning ball ahí, está bien, como el rayo.
Regional powerhouse Achin used a P.E.K.K.A. Battle Ram deck to steamroll his way up the leaderboard.
Estamos viendo como el P.E.K.K.A. le está dando un espadazo increíble a la torre. Así, grandísimo.
Meanwhile, Pedro won both of his matches.
Vamos, 3, 2, 1, 294 del día. Vamos, Pedro, muy bien visto, porque
distinguishing himself as one to watch.
Los counters son claros, sí.
Heading into the final week of round-robin play, Achin, Pedro, and Adrian Pietro are battling for the top seed, while Dark Shadow and Fantini are toiling at the bottom, in danger of elimination.
We're just 90 seconds away from the start of North America. Couldn't be more hyped.
In the North American region, Batman soared into the weekend undefeated.
It could be the best match that we see out of the entire North American region. These are two of the most accomplished players.
But it wasn't long before he fell from grace, suffering loss.
The Giant will not get to the tower in time, and CMC will sweep Batman
after loss.
6 elixir!
36! 6! Oh, it's a land! Oh my gosh!
After loss to regional heavyweights.
Batman moves down to 3-3 after starting the day 2-0.
I didn't prepare enough. I went 1-3, that's not really good. But next week I'll prepare more and hopefully better results.
While Batman was on the decline, tournament favorite C. McHugh arrived in the studio.
He forfeited his week 1 match, had to play in a soccer tournament. He's here this week.
And rolled through the competition.
The Zap is going to come down, the Battle Ram is going to connect, the Barbarian is going to swing.
What a statement by McHugh.
Relying on a minor poison deck.
McHugh looks like he's just on another level in this game.
And losing only 1 game throughout the day.
Yeah, CMC definitely showed up. He came to play.
I just focus on making the right plays and making positive elixir trades as best as I can and then converting that into offensive pushes. There's a reason why I say I'm number 1.
But C. McHugh isn't alone at the top. Tin 2 matched his every move, using graveyard decks to remain undefeated.
268, the poison. If another skeleton locks on, this could begin. The log is going to come out. GG, Tin 2.
The only player with 4 match wins in any region. The only undefeated player left in North America.
At the end of the second week, these 2 heavyweights loom over the field, while Oxalate is nipping at their heels, making a move to claim his place among the best.
You're not going to want to miss these matches.
Heading into the final week of round-robin play, the stakes have never been higher.
Those are the games that we live for, buddy.
I know.
This weekend will determine who advances to bracket play to compete for the Crown Championship Spring Season title.
Week 2 included some of the most exciting Clash Royale gameplay I have ever seen. I want to dig a little deeper into it, so I've invited Greg into the couch all the way from the European broadcast. How are you doing today?
It's great to be here. I'm feeling very good, thank you. And how are you?
I'm doing great. I am so excited for week 3. These matchups are going to be insane. I think the biggest story out of week 2 of North America was Oxalate. Oxalate came into the week 1-1, impressed with a 2-1 performance, including a win over Batman, who was favored in their matchup.
Yeah, for sure. And the big thing about Oxalate is how much he's improved since he's entered into the CCGS. Getting in on day 8 of the qualifiers, everyone was kind of questioning whether he deserved to be here, but he's improved so much, especially his in-game mechanics. I've really noticed how he's making such effective trade-offs in-game.
The Oxalate game that sticks in my mind was against Lucifer. In one of their games, they had a mirror match, like an exact 8-card deck mirror match.
In fact, both their games, it was 3 Musketeer mirror match with Bandit in both the decks, and it was super interesting because they took them a while to realize they could take that 3 Muskies up one side. There was one point where there were 8 Musketeers all in the standoff, 5 on Lucifer's end and 3 on Oxalate's end, but because of the meat shields, those 5 Musketeers could never touch the 3 of Oxalate, and so it got very tough for Lucifer to ever gain an advantage there. And 9 elixir for a 3 Musketeer standoff, that's going to be pretty detrimental if you lose out.
Now, flying over to Europe, all the way across the pond to your neck of the woods, we've got, probably in Europe, I think there's more separation than in any other region. There's a clear break between the top 5 players and the bottom 3 players. I think the bottom 3 are largely out of contention for the top 2 spots, but it was crazy because you had a mixture of known tournament players like Surgical Goblin, Nem Sensei, Royale. Donkey Kong is, of course, a really well-respected ladder player. Someone who came in with less accolades but is still keeping up with them is Baron from Germany. Baron had a stud matchup where he upset Surgical Goblin, giving Surgical his only loss so far in the Crown Championship. What happened in that matchup?
The matchup was really close because no one gave away an easy tower. It was always hard fought, grinding away, and a particular moment I remember was Surgical Goblin playing log bait, and Baron used his log pretty much every time on the Goblin barrel. But then one occasion he recognized there was a Goblin Gang and Princess, he could log both of them, get that 2-for-6 trade-off, and then he managed to catch a Duke barrel with some skeletons, so then that was a 3-for-9 trade-off. And once you get that 6 elixir advantage, the rest of the game is so easy for you.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a free lightning.
It's a free lightning, exactly. So Baron outperformed Surgical Goblin mechanically, I felt, during those games, and really got inside his head and started predicting his plays.
Down in Latin America, that's a really closely fought region. I mean, no one's undefeated in that region anymore.
Yeah, but one person who did go undefeated this week was Atchin. He started in week 1 with a 2-1 match differential, and now he's won another 2 matches this week, but he looked incredibly strong, not using a single 3 Musketeer as well.
Even though Atchin and Pedro are atop the standings, 2 3 Musketeer players are right behind them. Phenomenal and Adrian Pietro are both sitting at 3-2. What do you think they got to do maybe to grab one of those top 2 spots?
Well, the 3 Musketeer deck was very set before the recent update. Now people are starting to integrate Bandit in there, which it might change the way you need to play it. And so be interested to see how these players adapt now with the upgraded Bandit.
Gregan, thank you so much for joining me on the couch. Your analysis, top notch.
Thank you. I love numbers and I love Clash Royale, so I'm happy to share it with you.
And I love you. Next up on Tournament Talk, we mentioned that Adrian Pietro is one of the best 3 Musketeer players in the world, but did you also know that he is a hometown hero in his native country of Mexico? Let's meet Adrian Pietro right now.
My name is Adrian Pietro Garcia. I'm from Villahermosa, Tabasco, Mexico. I'm 17 and my in-game name is Adrian Pietro. In Mexico, they know me as the Eagle. A long time ago, a group of indigenous in Mexico was walking around trying to bring some food to home, and then they saw an eagle fighting with a snake. They saw, oh, this is like a symbol, so we're gonna found our city right here, Mexico City, the capital of the country. I like the eagles because they soar high, is a leader, never give up. This represents me, represents all the people, my family, my friends, all. So I'm like an eagle. I like this life as a professional esports player. Make me feel like a superstar, and it's amazing because people knows me. People say, "Hey, can I have a photo with you?" And I say, "Oh yeah, for sure." And someone they say, "Can you give me an autograph?" And I say, "Oh yeah, why not?" It's a dream come true. It's awesome. It's like unbelievable. When I was a kid, my parents separated, so my mom was the one who raised me and my sister. It's hard, but she do a really good job. That's why I love her so much. My mom is really close to me. She's always supporting me. Like when I lose, he said, "Don't give up. Next time you're gonna win. So don't give up." And when I won the tourney, the CCGS, to come here, I told her, "Mom, I won," and she said, "Oh, let's go," and she hugged me, and I love this moment. I'm here for all of my friends, my family are supporting me. And I'm gonna do my best, and I'm gonna try to win this competition.
And next up on Tournament Talk is Community Corner. Community Corner is the part of the show where you get to be heard. And this week, we've got a little something about Crown Championship decks from Abe Plays Games.
Hello Clashers and Clashettes, my name is Abe Plays Game, and today I want to go over deck archetypes. I'll cover what they are, along with some of the most popular ones currently available. And, just in case you don't know who I am a competitive Clash Royale player, member of the Reddit Alpha Clan family, specifically Alpha Esports. Alright, so you're probably wondering, what are deck archetypes? Well, basically, a deck archetype is a style of play. It's how your deck wants to win, and the 3 main kinds are Control, Beatdown, and Siege. The Rumham has a great Reddit post on those more broad archetypes. I'm not going to recover that information, but if you are interested in the more general archetypes, check that post out. Instead, I want to talk to you guys about the more specific archetypes we've seen formed. Since we've all been playing the game a lot longer, we now know exactly what a 3 Musketeers deck is supposed to look like. It's gotta have 3 Musketeers in it, obviously. It's gotta have the Elixir Pump, because those cards have an amazing synergy together, and then you've got to have an alternative form of offense, besides just the Three Musketeers. Usually this can be in the form of a miner, very popular now to have a battle ram in the deck because it also lightning blocks, and then you're going to usually want some cheap cycle cards so that you can still efficiently move through your deck and have answers to everything that your opponent wants to do. Golem, it's almost, you know, one of the most tight 8-card deck lists that there are. It's got to have Golem, Elixir Pump, Lightning, Log or Arrows, Baby Dragon, Mega Minion, in some cases either Electro Wizard or Lumberjack, and then Skeletons to cycle the deck. These archetypes are getting more and more efficient as to what it is exactly that everything wants to be accomplishing. Now, one of the most interesting things about all of that is seeing how these archetypes shift the kind of flexible spots in the deck to adapt to the new meta. For instance, old Expo decks used to look a little something like this, and now newer ones might look a little bit like this. We've got Spellbait decks, or Hog Logbait, that used to have Inferno Tower in it. Now it's much more popular to substitute the Inferno Tower for Tornado. It just happened to work a lot better in the meta. Well, that was before the Tornado nerf, so now it may evolve yet again. And it's interesting to see what sort of card substitutions are being made, as well as what new innovations are being made. For instance, this P.E.K.K.A deck. This is a very anti-meta deck. On its own, I don't think it would ever become a widely played deck. However, due to all of the other decks that are currently very popular to play, this deck happens to do a very good job at dealing with the vast majority of them. Well, everybody, that's all I have for you this time. I hope that this has inspired you to take a little bit of a closer look at some of the decks you're seeing throughout CCGS. And if you happen to like the content, feel free to come on by over to my Twitch channel. Have a good one.
That was a great video. Make sure to go to Abe's Twitch and YouTube channel. Drop him a follow for making all the effort. And remember, if you'd like to see your video featured on Community Corner, submit it to the link below. We're looking for anything entertaining and related to the Crown Championship Series, so send it in and it could be featured next week on Tournament Talk. Now, so far, we've spent the show talking about last week, but now it's time to talk about this week. I've brought Findable Carpet from the North American broadcast and Mika all the way from the European broadcast to the couch. Thank you so much for joining me.
Whew, my arms are tired from flying in.
Oh, boo, get out of here. We've got 3 great matchups to talk about this week. North America is C. McHugh and Tin 2.
I mean, this is the clash of the Titans. This is essentially C. McHugh. He forfeited his first match. He then went 3-0 the next time we saw him, and Tin 2's yet to go down. He's 4-0 right now. 2 things to look at is that C. McHugh pretty much has nearly every deck to his disposal, and Tin 2 generally does prefer Siege, but we've seen him start to break out of his comfort zone and do some extra things. I'd be pretty excited to see if Tin 2 brings out something different, something he hasn't done yet so far in the actual group stage or in this round robin. And C. McHugh, I think, just is going to do his best to make a well-rounded deck that can deal with what we've seen from Tin 2, which is Siege and Graveyard.
These two, this weekend, will be locked in their Steel Cage grudge match to determine the #1 spot in North America. What are the key factors in that match, and who do you think's going to win?
My money's on C. McHugh. He's very good at using a variety of decks, so I feel like no matter what Tin 2 throws at him, he's going to have a counter deck, or he can build one on the spot to counter that deck. He's just very talented in doing that.
I think it's going to probably go to C. McHugh, but I think it will at least be into a Game 3. Tin 2 is going to put up a good fight.
The stage is set between these two juggernauts from Fresno's finest and Nova Esports, and I think all 3 of us think that McHugh's going to win, which really gives, I think, Tin 2 the motivation to prove us and the rest of the world wrong. If he defeats McHugh and goes to 5-0, best player in North America.
Easy.
Over in Europe, where Mika normally lives, we have a pretty gargantuan matchup, actually. Donkey Kong from France sitting at 4-1 against Royale, who is sitting at 3-1. Now, these are 2 very different personalities. Donkey Kong, very humble, wasn't even sure if he was going to make it to this tournament. And Royale, woo, he likes his emotes, I'll tell you that much. They're going to have a match between the 2 of them to determine really who's going to be in the top 2. They're right there on the brink, and that match could really determine who gets preferential seeding into the spring finals.
As for the deck choices between these 2, for Donkey Kong we've seen a lot of Three Musketeers, and he's also got a lot of variety. Royale really, really likes his graveyard decks. 3 of his decks had graveyard in them, so it's kind of a toss-up between these 2. I want to see Donkey Kong go forward, but Royale's also proving himself as well.
Royale has one advantage going for him, though. Master of psychological warfare.
Oh, yeah.
The man loves his
He's an
cry
aggressive
emotes.
player, both on the arena and also with the emoting.
Donkey Kong Royal, hero from France, villain from Romania. Who do you got?
I've always been a fan of Donkey Kong, so I'm just gonna have to go with Donkey Kong.
I think Donkey Kong, since he has a little more variety at his disposal, I think it's going to go in his favor.
Royal is one of the best players in Europe. I genuinely think he's going to mix it up a little bit, and I love a good villain, so I'm going to go with Royal this week.
All right, we'll see how this pays off for you.
Down in the Latin America region, we have a matchup of the second and third place players. Pedro 15 is going to battle Adrian Pietro. This is the final featured match of the Latin America region. Who do you got?
I really want to go with Pedro.
I'd imagine we're going to see a mirror match of Three Muskies, and that Pedro's going to come out on top.
So many exciting matches in all three regions this weekend, the final week of round robin play. Findable Carpet, Mika, thank you so much for joining me on the couch.
It's been a blast, Seth. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Next up on Tournament Talk, we mentioned the second and third place player in Latin America. But who's in first? It's Achin. Let's meet Achin right now.
When I was younger, my grandma told me and my brother how to meditate and concentrate. It helps me clean my mind, focus on whatever I need to, and relax. I'm Eric Wu. I'm 18 years old from Brazil. Meditating before the tournament is really good because I can clean my mind and take away whatever anxiousness I have on the moment. When I take out the anxiety, I can focus better on my game. I am a calm and tranquil person, but while in-game, I get focused and excited, so it's not tranquil and calm anymore. When I go into stage, I do some martial arts moves. I really like it, but I'm still learning, and those things takes a whole life to master. I was born and raised in Brazil, but my family and parents are mostly from China. I feel like I'm a mix of both worlds. The Chinese culture is more strict, more rigid. Meanwhile, the Brazilian culture is carefree, relaxed, with high energy as well. Deep down, I know I'm Brazilian. To represent Brazil, playing a World Championship seems really unreal to me. I would love to win the tournament. If I did, I would be really surprised, and it would be awesome.
So that's Achin, sitting atop the Latin American leaderboard with just 2 matches to go. We'll see if his Zen balance can carry him to victory. But next, my favorite segment of the show. You know what it is? It's Gem of the Week. Gem. This week on Gem, there is only one little lady worth talking about. She's dashing around the battlefield. She's stealing our hearts. This week's Gem is all about the Bandit. Now, Bandit illustrates the power of balance changes. We were wondering who's going to be the biggest winner of all of the changes that went in on Monday. And so far, it seems to be this little lady Bandit. At only 3 cost, she's versatile, she's got the hit points, the damage to go in many different decks. We saw her in P.E.K.K.A. Battle Ram decks, in Three Musketeers decks, and in Golem decks. She did everything this week. She was dashing across the river to pick off ranged attackers, she was supporting tanks, she was split pushing, and she was pressuring towers when their opponents made big investments. Bandit was all over the place, going from 0 appearances in week 1 to 40 different decks in week 2. She was a popular choice in all 3 regions, and I expect to see a ton of Bandit this week. The big question, how will players adapt to this new Bandit metagame? Will they adopt the Bandit into their own decks, or will they put counters to Bandit in their decks? We could see more skeleton armies and goblin gangs this week, or we could see even more bandits across all 3 regions. If you just can't wait to see more Bandit action, check out a highlight of Surgical Goblin's Golem Bandit deck.
Donkey Kong now with the elixir advantage.
Bandit
Whoa, the
connects,
bandit! I didn't even see her going in there. Did you notice that?
I noticed the bandit, but I thought it
Dashes
would go
under
down.
the tower, a log and a lightning will finish the game.
Yes!
Surgical Goblin just got the win.
A Camouflage Bandit managed to take a win for him last week, and it's gameplay like that made Bandit our Gem of the Week. And that wraps up this week's episode of Tournament Talk. Remember, this weekend will set the stage for the spring finals. Top 2 players, preferential seeding. Bottom 2 players, going home. Make sure to watch every Crown Championship match this weekend and tune in next week for Tournament Talk. Next week, tune in for the spring season finale. We will be crowning champions in both the North American and Latin American regions. Things are heating up across the globe, and we'll be here to break down everything you need to know heading into the final battles of the spring season.